morning to all of you. I hope you are all doing well. I am Agnika Singh, NSS JDMC. I would like to invite Dr. T.P. Sasikumar, former Deputy Director, Director of General Security, Government of India. He is the Director of UGC Academic Staff, College Calicut University, Kerala. He is also a scientist of Advanced Data Processing Research Institute, Hyderabad, also a professor and head of Department of Business Administration at JNTUH, Hyderabad. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Ma'am, with this note, I, Sakshi Rai, on behalf of JDMC, would broadly like to welcome our esteemed speaker. Thank you so much for taking out your time, sir, for this wonderful session. We welcome you, sir. Sir, over to you. Sir, I into this program. So,
Jayanti will have something to say.
Sir, very good morning, girls. Sir, it's really a great pleasure for me to listen to you always. So, whenever I used to ask you, so without any hesitation, so you accept our invitation. So, thank you so much, sir. And I know that the students will enjoy with your insightful lecture. So, sir, I welcome you again to this program. Sir, over to you, sir.
Namaste. Namaste. Thank you, Avanika and Sakshi. And great thanks to Jayanti and in absence probably Dr. Swati Pal, because I am sure it is her kindness to me and Jayanti Sahu making this platform with JDMC. I am not new to JDMC, especially philosophy department. I was there for few number of times, 2-3 times already. But I'm sure NSS, many of you or the large number of students, probably this is first time. I was part of National Service Scheme when I was a student, maybe 40 years back. And being a scientist in Space Department in Hyderabad, one of my most memorable public programs, one of the most memorable National Service Scheme program was in a place called Karim Nagar. That is supposed to be an Naxalite prone area. When I was going in a vehicle, we were asked to hide Government of India banner, otherwise it could be harmful. And for the program at 10 o'clock, as usual, I reached quite early before the program. I was there, and it was a national seminar with many universities participating. At least 10-15 university students from different part of the country. They were all coming. The program was supposed to start by 11 o'clock. But as usual, people come by their own time. So by lunchtime, everybody would be in. There is an inauguration program by a member of parliament. That was at 11:30. The message started coming that the member of parliament will be delayed. So nearly 200-300 students were sitting in the ground waiting for the member of parliament. And after his inauguration was my keynote speech. So what I did was, I told the organizers, don't make these children to sit and waste their time. So let us start the program. Whenever the member of parliament comes, I will stop and then he can inaugurate. And the message started coming that he is getting delayed. Even during lunchtime, 1 o'clock, the message started coming. He will be there in another half an hour, 1 hour. So I was continuing and I was asked to, because I started the program They don't want to leave them for lunch, because leaving them for lunch and coming back will take another break. In between, if member of parliament comes, audience will not be there. So I was asked to hold the audience continuously. So I had a marathon 11:30 to 2:30 talk, almost 3 hours non-stop for National Service Scheme students. So it's easy to address anybody who is in the service, anybody who is in nation, because there are a lot of things which can be told. Anyway, I am glad that JDMC, especially Jayanti Sahu, called me for addressing National Service Scheme, because I love such children who are into the service schemes, probably if they are not for certificates. There are a lot of people today, everything is for certificate. Even if I call a satsang, people keep asking me, are you giving a e-certificate? I'll tell you, I'll give you hundreds of certificates in whatever names you want. Whomever you want certificates of whatever qualification you want, I can give you from different places, free of cost. Because I know the value is zero for all this. Hundreds of certificates, but no knowledge. That is the pathetic situation of education today. I remember when I used to have satsang in my house for my program called the Shiksha Holiday Program. Every day there used to be a lot of young children coming and sitting with me from medical science, management, electronics, communication, computer science, different subjects, aerodynamics. They keep asking me a lot of questions and then I keep answering all of them. I remember somebody was asking, sir, when are you going to give certificates for this? I said, which subject you want certificate? And I know the value of marks which people carry. Even if you get 90%, 95% or 20%, for me, all children are equal. If you have the zeal for knowledge, if you don't have the zeal or zest for knowledge, you are not called a student, you are called a stud nut. By mistake, people while typing student is mistyped as stud nut, and sometimes I say that is the right word to be used. So I love to talk about education any place, whether it is national education policy in place or not. The philosophy department, I am sure the title is given by Jayanti Sahu. The philosophy is such a subject where you can give solutions to any problem where there is no problem at all. And you can give any solution to any problem where solution need not be for the problem. You can convert the problem into something else. That is philosophy. And therefore everybody gets confused. I did not challenge the title given by Jayanti Sahu that it is National Education Policy 2020 Challenges and Opportunities, because I considered this as a great opportunity for me to understand what is the challenge there. I understand maybe students, if you are not very good in vocabulary, you must look at the meaning of what is challenge. It is to prove and justify something. That is what is challenge. That's what I understand. I happens to be a English teacher in my early, soon after college, though I did BSc Mathematics, taking classes for mathematics were very tough because I found children don't understand mathematics. Right? Generally people come for, that was a parallel college. In Kerala we have a system called a parallel college. Anybody can open a college, register your students with any open university or distance education program and run it almost like a college. So you have as many number of colleges, regular colleges or aided colleges, equivalent number of parallel colleges are there in Kerala. Now because of national education policy, all of them are on strike because they will lose their entity now. So I use a lot of vocabulary in my life to understand. So I know the challenges is a good word. Prove or justify something. So I am here to prove that national education policy is bad or good. That is what the challenge which I have. And second one, probably if you look at very closely, in a very competitive situation, that if somebody wanted to participate in something and fight and win, then we say it's a great challenge. It is not that simple to win. It is also called a challenge. Where because you have a superiority terms and then you require a lot of strength and ability to win. So I don't think it's a great challenge for anyone if you consider that as an opportunity. Any problem in your life is an opportunity or challenge. But here it is given as challenge and opportunities because there are a lot of role players. And what is an opportunity? Any time, anything, any circumstance which makes you possible to do something. So actually there is a positive part which is called opportunity there. I consider national education policy as a great opportunity because it's like cleaning your house once in a while if you don't clean it all the time. Education should have been revised, updated. Teachers should have been challenged themselves to look at the opportunity which the situations and technologies are giving. And if that is not done, probably the role players like government is supposed to tell them what you are supposed to do, which you are not doing regularly. Look at national education policy. I am not looking at verbatim. I am looking at the philosophy behind any education policy, any policy of government is to transform India, especially now because of the present nationalistic, patriotic so-called government which is in rule. We say that it is Bharat which has to sustain and equate with the vibrant knowledge society around the globe because we are in the fourth industrial revolution. The world is going to change. The connectivity is going to be different. Everybody is going to be in a world of change which you cannot run and reach very fast if you are not equipped well and connected well. You need both communication and technology. Information is huge. So ICT is a word which is used. Probably I must have taught millions of teachers in this country how to use ICT for their education. I learned it in JNU in Delhi in 2005. I had a 1-month program where ICT, especially audio visual communication, EMMRC, Educational Multimedia Research Center. Earlier it was called Audio Visual Center. So if you look at that experience of people who have gone through, not for certificates again, sincerely gone to and then had a program such me, in 2005 what we are talking is still not happened in this country. So there was an agency under UGC which is called CEC, not CEC, not easy, it is tough. That is Educational Communication, C, Consortium for Educational Communication. So Consortium for Educational Communication said you have to update yourself with the technology, otherwise 21st century will become a problem. Today we are not supposed to talk about what we require in 21st century. It's a foolish terminology to use. We are in 21st century, we should do this, we should do that. Because the time scale, when you talk about centuries, is entirely different. When the world is moving very, very fast, you cannot talk about 100 years as a time scale. You must change the scale and then tell 10 years what will happen. So I keep saying we are not talking about 21st century now. We are talking about third decade of 21st century. So I keep saying today we have to talk about 3 to 1. Third century of 21st century is called third decade of 21st century. I shorted called 3-2-1. So today we are in 3-2-1. So what is that we require in 3-2-1? We require young children like you all who are smart, not the old fellows who are in BC. Before computers, we took birth in before computers. We don't want these people. All teachers above 40 has to be asked forcefully to get out of the colleges. I am sure education will become a revamping change. Otherwise, what they will do is, the education, I remember when people were writing on blackboard, when whiteboard came, they changed the chalk piece into some colorful, maybe, and their color also will not work most of the time. The board used to be whiteboard and they have color pens, that's it. But they don't even use all the colors. Second, what happened, they have slide projectors, they have overhead projectors, same content they post it onto the Xerox, don't take a white sheet and then started showing it. And then when computer came, what happened, everybody uses PowerPoint presentation. What is there in the PowerPoint presentation? Same text. See, actually when you show something to computer, it should not be text at all. It should be graph which you cannot speak like this. Text is what you can speak. Why people show text on the PowerPoint? If I have to show something, I should have some graph. I should have some diagrams. I should have video, audio. That is what is called audio visual communication. So if you cannot make your presentation with all the computerized aspects which has got pictures, colors, audio, video, animation, simulation, you cannot say I am using computer for my presentation. Such PowerPoint presentations are used by many stupid old fellows. Seeing it, I feel really, what a pathetic situation is this. The purpose is to read on the screen. That is because you don't know. See, I heard the other day somebody telling, this is nice that COVID situation, we have got e-classrooms, online classrooms, because we don't have to look at the book and all these are available on the screen. I can read it and take classes. So it's a very good, fortunate situation. That's what people say. It's too bad. I don't know. I know that most of you may be remembering what Einstein's time. Einstein was not known to the public. So what had happened was, Einstein was going for many lectures and his driver told once, everywhere you are speaking the same thing, you are not telling something different. Even I, hearing it many times, I can tell the same thing now. And Einstein did a big drama, I don't know whether it's a story or a real thing. Instead of Einstein, the driver was posted onto the podium and the driver spoke fantastic. Maybe probably his English would have been much better than Einstein. They are all native speakers, so they did much better than what Einstein could do. But then the question started coming. So a teacher can challenge or can be challenged by students only when they ask good questions. Otherwise, every class is a stupid class. Because you are only verbatim copying the text or copying somebody's notebook. Probably the notebook which they prepared 15 years back or 20 years back, when their parents or their teachers would have been students, that time what is there is still philosophy doesn't change, history doesn't change, mathematics doesn't change. We are still reading same Shakespeare and same Wordsworth, nothing else. We have not changed our education system. So what happened to Einstein's driver when the questions were coming? The driver had good logic, good practical mind, good presence of mind. Immediately he said, don't ask these simple questions, even my driver can answer. And the question was thrown to Einstein, who was pretending as a driver, and he answered all the questions. If you have any tough question, you ask me, I will answer. So what is that required to win this world is good presence of mind. We don't have education system where we are teaching what is presence of mind. What is logical reasoning? What is analytical reasoning? And that is what most of the MNC companies will test you when you wanted to get a job. And everybody fails. And what do? After graduation, they go for coaching center and then get trained. So the education and certificate has no value. Other than saying that your age is so much, you reached a stage where you can go for coaching centers. I don't know how many of you have seen the Cheat India movie. A beautiful movie. And the old movie of Kamala Bachchan, who is teaching students in the, they are all going to coaching classes parallelly, and then Bachchan is taking class. There are a lot of beautiful movies, and these are not today's situation. It is true, when you look at Chandragupta Maurya's creator Kaudilya, he left his kingdom because his children are not good. We have got a coaching center, tuition center, where who are the teachers actually? They are all failures. Today civil service training centers are all taught by people who are not achieved civil service. They started going for coaching for 10 years, then they stopped. So we have an education system totally polluted, totally bad. So high quality education means not certificates. It is making India a great global knowledge power. Even in America, the students who are going from India, I'm a psychotherapist, I get a call from people, students in America, where they fail in examination, commit suicide, they have problems, they are not able to cope up with the thing, but there are bright, brilliant children. It's not that I'm saying India is bad. But many people start manipulating and managing. If you want to be a global citizen, I'm sure you should have the ability to understand the world. We are, if you look at the 29 years is the average of India today. The whole population, if you look at the maximum number of people, the cumulative, the peak, the frequency, the highest number is in 29. Whereas in China it is 35. In America it is 37. Europe it is 44. Japan it is 40, 45 or 44, I think. So I'm sure India is a youth country. That's why we say India is a youth country. So 20 years from now, or maybe 10 years from now, India will have large number of people who are the workforce. And if that workforce is not equipped well, I'm sure we are going to be a failure to maintain such a large population who will be only consuming but not producing. That will be the pathetic situation. Therefore, if you want to make this manpower a great storage of people who are skilled, what we want is the nearly 56 million people, I think. That's what is going to be by 2020, 2021, 22. That is going to be the population. And India have approximately the skilled manpower has to be equivalent to that. Looking at from the younger to the elder, if all the youth are not skilled, they are all unskilled, they are only having certificates in them. That is today's situation. Between 19 to 24 who are into practical knowledge, it is 5% in India. If you look at America, it is 10 times, 50%. China is almost 50%, same number. UK, Germany, all of them are around 70%. Korea is nearly 95%. People are equipped to do something by themselves. You understand where are we now? If you don't start to get into vocational programs, practical, skillful knowledge, India is going to be in a dark world. So what is that expected out of this? By 2022, assume that in 2 years' time, if this new education policy is in place, it's a big challenge. The title is well given. It is not that easy. I am now, my concentration is not education policy. I am looking at where are we going to get these children skilled. Now I am working with some people who are in agriculture, farm, knowingly getting into the field, because agriculture is what we can make this country rich. And that is our parambaryam, that is our tradition, that's our strategy. If we are not producing sufficient food with this beautiful climate, you go anywhere in the world, India is blessed with such a great climate situation and variety of food what we have. And lot of people who have lot of land and they are not utilizing. Why they are not utilizing? That is because the mushroom type of engineering colleges. I was working in one of the engineering college here as manager and professor. MBA students, because it is professional, government is given free education. And I keep telling all the children, 60 children who are sitting in front of me, I tell you, all of you are useless because their parents were all farmers. And those farmers' children who got a BTech or an MBA, they think that they are educated, now they will not go to the field. They don't work at all. When they don't work, what will happen? Who will take care of their field after the next generation? Nobody will be there to take care. So it's all closed. And what happened to these children who are all the farmers' children? Their language is bad, technical skill is bad, communication skill is bad, world knowledge is bad. They don't even get a newspaper in their villages. Probably the students in Delhi may not understand the situation. I asked them, you must read English newspaper, Hindu has to be read, read the editorial. They are looking at me like, what is this you are saying? They never heard about a paper called Hindu. They don't know what is editorial in a newspaper, but they are BTech and MBAs. They don't even know when is India's Independence and Republic Day. Can you imagine you can become an MBA in this country with this education system? Because it's out of syllabus. You don't require, we have choices. I keep saying education and examination system is such a thing. You have got a 5 bullet gun with you, and only one place you keep the bullet and ask somebody to shoot. And if you are lucky, exactly that shoot will become a success. The 4 people will become failures. That's it. So it's just luck. I'm completely agreeing with the challenges what we have. To such a situation, if you want to make this country a very rich, probably one of the greatest economy, the largest youth with all skill, I'm sure it's a great challenge. Who are the role players? Parents. Because parents have got a great role to tell your children that, mark is not important. It is not children who are worried. It is the parents who are worried. They'll tell you if you don't get 90%, 95%, it's a problem. How do you compete? That's a question which they ask. Because world is a competition. It is not a competition, it is association. We see a lot of good children who join in my department, space department. I used to see brilliant students. But when you ask them to do something together with somebody else, they fail because they only learned competition. You cannot put a rocket in the sky when there is a competition. No scientist to another scientist is competing. They all work together. It's a collaboration what is required. It's a project. You go to earlier in an MNC company, they used to take children with a lot of IQ, intelligent. But then they found that intelligent people are not contributing. So they started giving EQ, emotional quotient. They should have love to their people around. They must collaborate. It is not a competition. That is what we mean by saying that 5-fold development. Physical, intellectual, emotional, social and spiritual quotient. That is what is called holistic. And how do you get this? A BTech student should also, I remember when we had an educational meet in 2005 or 6 in Kerala, we had got a world colloquium on education. I remember one of the technocrat who was asking, why should I learn Shakespeare? How does it matter Shakespeare has written this or not? I decided I am going to be an engineer. My children are going to be an engineer. Why should I learn literature? I was there part of the team because I was director for academic staff college. I was invited as an expert who can speak on education. I asked, where do you know Vishwesharaya? Other day we had Vishwesharayya's day as engineer's day. He is one of the greatest engineer of India. No engineer is learning about Vishwesharayya in the technology classroom, mathematics or physics or such classrooms. I am sure Vishwesharayya comes as a picture in front of us only in literature class. Mahatma Gandhi is known to us not in history class. Before that we learned him in the language classes. What do they convey? They convey that being an engineer you can be great. Being an engineer you have to be disciplined. Being an engineer you have to be an autocrat. He was an autocrat. Being an engineer, you can be an advisor to minister. He was the advisor to the king of Mysore palace. So when we learn this, there is a message which is going into the children. Yeah, I should also become an engineer like this. Then you start looking at to become an engineer, what should I learn? Then you say, I should learn physics, I should learn maths. So there is somebody who is motivating you. That motivation is the quality which everybody require. But today we don't have motivation. We are only competition. Motivation is look at somebody who is standing in front of you and talking. Yeah, I want to be like him. Maybe when you read about somebody, you can think about him like that. I wish I can be like Mahatma Gandhi, I can be like Tagore, I can be like Vivekananda, I can be like Shankaracharya, I can be like somebody else. To know that, you must read. That reading will lead you to philosophy, or maybe C.V. Raman, you want to be, you look at physics, you want to look at politics and then start learning because you have got a role model there. I am sure every person who want to act into movies, he cannot say, I don't know who is Amitabh Bachchan. You cannot say, I don't know Kamala Hassan. You must know the great people who are all there in this country, who are all leading the movie today. Then you can say, yeah, I also have interest in. You cannot be a musician without knowing who are the musicians who are there. So I am sure if mathematics is your subject knowledge, you also should know mathematicians. If you know physics and you don't know who is C.V. Raman being in India, you are not a physics lover, but you don't learn about C.V. Raman in the whole physics classrooms. So we have a great gap in understanding the overall life pattern, the motivation, because we are into such a world where we are not looking at the emotion, moral, integrity, nation building. We are in a society. So no individual. An individual becomes a citizen. The country becomes a nation. We have to build a nation. The feeling has to come within us. For which you need a good, thoughtful, all-round, a creative individual who will not only work for making him happy, but making his fellow people also happy. If that is not done, I am sure your character, ethical value, the constitutional values, what we are saying, the curiosity, what we have, the scientific temper, the creativity, the spirit of service. I have to tell this because I am talking to National Service Scheme people. The spirit of service comes only when you look at what are the people around you and what are they doing. The concern about others. I see most of the students, most of the teachers, most of the people don't read newspaper at all. I have been assembly guest in some of the schools. During the first hour, they read newspaper. And that is a ritualistic program which is done because they have to write in the document saying that every day we read a newspaper. That's it. And after somebody was reading a newspaper, I called the student and asked, why are you reading yesterday's newspaper? Sir, here everything is fine. If 1 week back a newspaper also you read, nobody is going to check. You have a principal there, you have teachers there, nobody reads. So whatever you read is good enough. Because somehow they have to finish their syllabus, they have to finish their job, they have to make a documentation. Teachers are not actually doing anything as a service today. They are all doing paperwork. They are more worried about how to get money, how to do the job. So if that situation, where is the challenge which we have today? The system is polluted by the people who are handling it. We have management who are making money, huge amount. Education is a big business. I am not talking about normal colleges of like Janaki Devi Memorial, because you have got a variety of subjects and all that. You have got specialized subject like only BTech programs. They're all, who are the people who are owning these educational institutions? They are not people who love education. They are business people. Once upon a time, they are real estate. And they have lot of land. They are builders. They are contractors. And such people, or they are politicians. If they are politicians, I am sure you can manage all the committees. All the committees can be managed. So today we have so many certification committees. AICT, MBA, NDA, all that. Most of them don't even go to the college. They go to some 5-star hotel, stay there for 2 days. They're all gifted with a lot of money or some gifts, and they certify everything is all right. We have polluted the system like this because we don't have the people who are running the college has to be professionals. They have to be educational people. They have that attachment to education. Today, if we wanted to revamp the society level, we wanted to revamp, the society need to change. Now, the new education policy, we have got vocational training, the internship, everybody can study whatever they want. So flexible, the Sarva Kala Shala. Every district is going to have one university. And under that university, you will have research, you will have teaching, you will have degrees. Anytime you can get into any college, change your college from one college to another college, change your discipline from one to another one. It's going to be so flexible. And what is the challenge? The opportunities are plenty. You know who has got the largest opportunity now? I wish I am a student now. And I can take mathematics a little bit, art a little bit, music a little bit, and all that put together like a grade in America. The Western system they have, the similar one. I can be a free student, go and sit in whichever classes I want, pick up whatever courses I want, jump from different place to another place, join for many courses parallelly, put them together and get 2-3 degrees in a no time. But that is a great opportunity for children. Challenge is for whom? Teachers. Again, teachers will have challenge because exam system is going to change. The teachers are not going to be teachers now. They are going to be producers. They are going to be motivators. Every student will tell, I know this, madam, you tell me. Today you are attached to a department and you have an internal mark. If you misbehave, they will screw you up. Tomorrow that is not going to be situation. You have no departments. Departments are many. You can put anywhere anything. So now what will happen? Now you don't have one department where I belong to. You are not stamped. The stamping will come later. The first year you finish, you don't like, you can quit and go to something else. You have got a credit bank. All that goes into your academic bank, and then you can go and then you start continuing the in a different place. So if teachers are not going to be really a cultural change in them, different culture, different productivity, highly innovative, thinking of progressive activity, if they don't change themselves, I am sure most of the teacher will have to retire. And they have to equip themselves. What is going to happen today? That is true with most of the academic institutions abroad. It is not teachers. There are no permanent teachers. See, China is paying very good for all the teachers. But what is the situation? Every year they have to write examination. Don't say that I did my MA in 1970 and still I can start teaching the same thing, not teaching, cheating the same thing for the next 50, 30 years in my life, become a professor. Next year you want to teach in a program, you write examination in that program with that syllabus and then prove that you know that subject. Yeah, it's a great challenge. I'm sure if teachers are not equipping, it is going to be a disaster for them. And who has to come and teach? See, Sachat Anubhava Drishto na Sruto na Guru Darshitaha Lokanam Upakaraya etat sarvam pradarshitam. Who is an Acharya? Acharya is one who knows the subject is not Acharya, who practically used his knowledge. I am a mathematician only when I use my mathematics practically. I am a commerce teacher only when I know, not commerce, bookkeeping and accountancy. I am seeing a lot of BCom students who are entering. It is not bookkeeping and accounting, putting the ledger book, saying that this is what it is, this is what it is, where he has not handled an accounts book so far in his life. That is practical. How do you get into practical? You get into the field, go to some company, work for some time. If education is going to be such a system where students are going to be practically learning, how can you have teachers who don't know practical at all? So I'm sure you have to talk about Vedanta. You must at least see one Vedanti in your life. If not, live in such a place where Vedantis are there. You can talk about mathematics only when you use mathematics in your life. Today, where are we using? There are zoology students who pass zoology, and then what are they doing? Probably when they make nice fish, they will have to cut nicely. That's it. Otherwise, they don't use that practical knowledge anywhere in the world. You can see after BSc zoology, they go become accountant. And after BCom, they go to BCA or MCA. I'm not saying that you should not shift the discipline, but shift the discipline because you have a passion. Don't shift the discipline because you want to get a job. I go to different radio programs, many TV programs, many classes like this with millions of children in front of me. All of them, after the result or before the result, before examination, before choosing a course, they will ask me a few questions. Sir, whether this course have got a scope? If I do this, do I get a job? If I do this specialization, does it have any value? I said, who has to decide the value of your education here? It is individual people who should have value, not your certificates, not your qualification. Any mathematics people have got value if you know mathematics. I am sure job will come to you. I remember in one of the training centers in Hyderabad, Mari Chennareddy Institute for Human Resources. Every senior superintendent of police, superintendent of medical department, everybody will come for a course program to orient themselves into the life skill programs, soft skill programs. And we used to have counseling. What are your problems? When after 30 years of service, 20 years of service, they have problems. And what are their problems? Sir, I am in the same post, same position for last 20 years and I don't have promotion. I said, what is this? Yeah, why can't you quit the job and try for some other job if this company or this government, this department is not giving you job? You know, immediately what do they say? Sir, if I quit this job, I will not get any other job. So you know you are useless. If you quit the job, you will not get any other job. That is why you are hanging around it. And assume you don't get any other job, do you think you should get promotion in your present job? See, how can you ask for a promotion when you don't know that you are useless? See, a person is good, whichever position he gets, wherever he is into, if he is contributing, I'm sure. So what is that? We have got a multidisciplinary university scheme, multidisciplinary colleges, where children don't look for the scope. They create scope for themselves. Pick up all that. Now today we have nearly 400 odd state universities. We have got nearly deemed universities around 100, 150 or so. Central universities maybe another 50. My numbers are not correct, I am only indicating. The private universities we have nearly equivalent to state universities, we have private universities. Where are they? We look at all of them are in the capital cities, the big cities. You will see 10 universities. Therefore, every student from the village will come. Where do they go for work? Now, assume tomorrow you create the same situation. You want the people to get a vocational. Everything you need a paper anyway. So, what will happen tomorrow? You will go to different companies and ask for a paper that you worked for 1 month there. This is how the parents also will tell you. I don't mind, don't go there. I will give you a certificate. He will get a certificate from somewhere and tell you, yeah, child, you learned cooking. You worked in the hotel for so many times. I think that is what is going to happen. The dilution is going to happen if you don't take it as a great challenge. So what is that new education policy says? Every district will have one university. The specialized universities like veterinary, maybe medical colleges, technical colleges, nanotechnology we have universities, microbiology we have universities. Probably all of them will get into multidisciplinary. You will have commerce there, and it is not something new. IIT started already medical, law, humanities. Many of the IITs are opened up for all these different schemes. Abdul Kalam had a great vision to have administrators being trained in the places. Indian Institute of Science we could not dilute because Indian Institute of Science says as per the rule made for Indian Institute of Science you can have only one. Therefore we have what is called ISER, Indian Institute of Education and Science and Research. Therefore ISER will give you same course what you have done in +1, +2 once again as a fresh course and then tell you what you want to select. You want maths, physics, chemistry, biology, or whichever subject you want to go into graduation. So we have revamped this, not at a stretch now. The change already, the transformation already is in place. Only thing, it was experimented in IIT, it was experimented in ISER, and we have got a 4-year B.Ed program already. The Regional Educational Center, the Regional Institute for Education, RIE. If after plus 2 you think you want to be a teacher, RIE teachers are, I have seen maybe more than 5 million teachers. I have seen all of them are not that good. But when some good teachers are seen, I ask them, are you an RIE product? Immediately they say, yes sir. How do you know? We know the quality of teachers because you come from such a place. So if your passion is teaching, you have to be in a subject plus how to teach that should be learned. What is the failure of the teachers in universities? They never learned about psychology. Educational psychology is to be learned if you want to become a good teacher. How to get into the student's mind, not in the mind, buddhi. Mind is here, manas. Learn by heart. Heart has to be there. Today heart is given. You don't have your heart. So if that has to change, I'm sure the teacher should have that heart. That cannot be got by certificates, I'm sure. So with lot of we have how many districts in India? Around 700 districts. So I'm sure we are going to have, imagine, you are also not that lucky. You would have been in school education so that by next 10 years you can be in the university where you can pick up whatever you want. We are going to have a stream of 800 universities with probably 40,000 colleges, and all the colleges will have different programs: education, graduation program, post-graduation and research programs. Some of the courses have gone, some of the school education has revamped. The whole aim is to make real skilled people who are not employable. We have got programs called BTech and MBA. We call them professional. And what do? They look for a job. See, looking for a job is not a professional's job. Professionals are people who create a job. And no civil engineering after BTech should search for job. He should start construction contract business. He should not work under a contractor. We should not have a dentist again looking for some other job where some doctors will give them a job. I have seen people with MBBS. You know, most of the MBBS doctors today, what do? They go for coaching center to get trained for getting an admission for the master's program. Because they are not confident they can start practicing with their MBBS and make money. The dental colleges are there where they wanted to show that they have plucked the teeth. They will buy from the neighboring shops. Every dental college there is a shop nearby. They will sell that teeth with real blood also. And they will put it in a dabba and then show that, yeah, yesterday I plucked somebody's. Every practical thing has been diluted like this. So where are we going to change? The research institutions, the teaching institutions, colleges are going to be practically there in 2030. Whether state is ruled by pro BJP or no BJP, I'm sure if the government continues, the policy continues, the government system continues, and there is no great change which is going to happen, I'm sure this highly accepted situation of everybody knows that there is a problem, but they will tell you, let me get a job, then you change the system. I don't want to be part of it. I'm sure that should not happen. You be part of it. There is great opportunities, but you have to change national service scheme. It's your responsibility to take the way forward. Yesterday I posted 10 years back, I started a program called the Social Craft Foundation. The Social Craft Foundation of India. Social Craft Foundation of India. Yesterday I posted on my Facebook, have sent it to some of my contacts. Young children, if you want to be part of it, be with me. We wanted to create, you can become entrepreneurs, you can become job creators, you can become the bridge between the academics and the practical training centers. Identify different practical training centers and different places. I am going to give you fellowship, and that will give you lot of activity based system where you can create infrastructure for the next generation to get trained. Otherwise, where are the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade children going to get knowledge of practical skill? Because the society is not ready to train them. There may be a mason, there may be somebody else, there may be a good cook, but he don't know how to train to make somebody else a cook. So the students, you are all people who can translate the knowledge as an education. So you can start your own business from tomorrow. That can be a part-time program where you will convert this, any system which you see. It can be a dhaba, it can be supply chain, it can be logistics creation, it can be farming. My focus is farming now. That's why I'm working with a big resort who has got a large farm here. I am converting that where we can train teachers, train civil service people. I also have got students who are looking for civil service, UPSC examination. So I want those children to go to farm, the farm as the first step, then go to administration. I want the firm, who are all company job people, get into the farm, get the farm to different homes. So I've got a program called farm to farm and farm to home. So that is because I want the society to feel that this is important. So I'm sure the IIT, IIM, only management is being taught, that is the world class institute. We don't want that. We want there also everybody can learn everything. The craft, art. Look at what happened in my trust called Shiksha under Nanam, Jnaanam. Nanam is Janaki. My mother's name is Janaki. So Janaki Narayanan mentoring. That is why the short form Nanam came. There I used to have 10 days of workshop for children. What do they teach tomorrow? I said, I don't know. What is going to be 10 days program coverage? Give me the syllabus and schedule. I said, no, you are unfit for being my student. There is no syllabus. You have to have some time without syllabus also, yeah? Decide what you want to learn. A day morning, one student will talk about something. I'll say, today that is our topic. Whoever takes initiative, that is going to be that day's topic. Every day we are filled from 7 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock. Only one teacher, that is Dr. TPS. What do I teach? You tell what you want to learn. And we used to have 10 days of workshop. And you know, at the end of 10th day, with me staying in my old home, 200-year-old home in Kerala, everybody while going, they will cry. The parents comes for picking up the 9th class girl. She will say, no, I don't want to go. I want to be here only. See, that is the relationship. That is where you learn. What do they learn? I said life learning. That's why I've got an institute called the International Institute for Advanced Academics, Soft Skill and Life Learning. I call it as I square, A square, S square, L square. International Institute for Advanced Academics, Soft Skill and Life Learning. What is the today's syllabus? If you look at National Education Policy, they are talking about life learning. They are talking about advanced academics. They are talking about soft skill. In 2005, that's the time when I started this. I'm sure we have to have, I've got another concept to look at Dr. TPS blog, or if you send me a WhatsApp, I'll send you the link. Educational supermarket. That was my concept in 10 to 15 years back. Children must be able to go and learn whatever they want. Let that be music, let that be art, let that be karate, let that be yoga, whatever you want. Everybody should be able to buy in a supermarket, everything is available. So I'm sure the teachers also will have to have like a counter in a buffet system. If you are a bad teacher, nobody will come to you. If the food is bad, nobody is going to go to that counter. I am sure that people will go to other counters and start eating. So the education is going to be like a buffet system where teachers will stand there. If you are a good teacher, you will have a big queue. If you are a bad teacher, you are sure you are not going to have. So it's a great challenge for, if in the same way what is envisaged with the committee, if the political situation, if the culture, if the academic administrators, if teachers are not accepting this, it's a big opportunity lost. If they take it as a challenge and then do it, I'm sure next generation will be the wisest, the best, richest people in the world. It is not in the country, because we can sell anything what we have, we can produce anything at here. I've got great admiration for the generation who are in after digital, AD, who took birth in after digital, the young students like you, because you already have a multimedia. You can listen to music, plug in something, and you can watch the TV. You can also work on computer parallelly. You can read a novel. You can eat parallelly. You can listen with the other ear the scolding of your parents. Why are you doing it? What are you doing it? All that you can do. You know why do they scold you? Because they are not able to do it. When I used to drive, my eldest brother who was a professor of zoology, when I used to drive, somebody goes in a motorbike overtaking us very fast. He used to tell, see this fellow, how he is driving. I said, Bhaiya, why are you saying this? Because you and me are not able to drive like him. If we are able to drive like him, what we will do? We will also drive. We are not able to drive, we are driving slowly. Whoever is driving faster, seeing them, I will tell envy and tell them what are they doing. They will meet with an accident. What is life, yeah? Take it as a challenge. Dear Zindagi. I'm sure you have seen that movie, right? So I'm sure the next generation is going to have a life of Dear Zindagi. I wish all of you, but don't be lazy. This is the right time to be very active. And though I have got a grey beard, I am at heart with all young children. That's why I am able to make a lot of difference in children. I have got brilliant children who are ready to do anything for me. Hundreds of them in different cities. And I am making difference. You can see what I have done with a program called ICON. ICON, ICON, you know the meaning. Looking focus, ICON, where I picked up young 8th grade children from a remote village where teachers and parents said they are all useless. They are from a Malayalam medium, they can't speak English, I'm a Keralite. I took them to Goa and asked them to be in the beach for 3 days. Interact with all the foreigners who are all with only algebra and geometry. Nothing else. You know what this means, right? They're all poorest people where they don't have clothes on their body. So ask them, go and discuss with them and learn all the geography, history of the whole world, because they're all good speakers they are all good travelers, great experience. Write down everything and make a note. In 3 days, they became courageous enough to speak in English. I'm not saying they speak in English, no. But they had courage to speak in English. That's how I taught my children how to change life. And what happened? It is in 2010. After 10 years today, my children are in the best universities, best colleges, into research, into job. Few of them are studying in Delhi in best colleges, in post-graduation. So I'm so glad that, those children, their parents and teachers said, you are all useless. You cannot become anything in your life. But changes can be made. You don't require a large number of teachers. One teacher is enough. In a college, you have one good teacher. Let all of them be different. I'm sure good direction is given. It's only direction. You are not teaching. Ask you to read this, look at it. You have to learn from movies. You have to learn from the society. You have to read, look at it. The digital world is so vast. I'm sure whatever you want is available. Why do you want to go to library and look at the old bad smelling books? Yeah. You have got 200. Whether you look at it, WhatsApp is a good learning system, mobile learning system. But don't forward. Create value by yourself and send a message. When you do that, you are learning vocabulary. You are learning so much. You are learning about different writers. I'm sure you have got Facebook, Zoom, meet like this today, or maybe I'm saying Zoom because that is the one who played the first few days. Now we have got nearly 100 varieties of live sessions. We have got Satsang, Jayanti Sahu, your professor, and she started a small group called Maya Satsang, the virtual Satsang. What is the question which they ask? I don't know. there are students like you who just passed post graduation are eager to know different things. We start learning different things. The platform is open to different subjects. It's not syllabus, it's out of syllabus. I'm sure a small discussion of 1 hour open up maybe 10 or 15 different books in the best library. That is what is sharing. That is what the wisdom sharing should happen today. Everybody should log up. I am from morning, probably as soon as I wake up, my day-to-day routine is over. I am on to laptop with maybe hundreds of webinars which I attend. Every day from March 25th, you can see at least an average 1 hour program video YouTube presentations by me. Average I said because some day it is 2 hours, some other day it may be 10 minutes also. But every day I make it a point, I post one. And so far, it did not break because people like Jayanti Sahu keeps me busy. So today I have got 2 sessions. That's why evening she wanted, it do not happen. Next week again I have. Every day. See, when you talk, you are reinventing yourself. I am sure what I spoke to you today, you cannot get in any document. It's my understanding of what I read. And why people read National Education Policy 2020 now, yeah? In 1 year back, 2019, it was published. And everybody was asked to look at it, read it, and then reflect and then give your comments. Where are these people who are now discussing, were sleeping all this time? This is not the time to talk about philosophy, challenge, opportunity. This is the time to say practically what can I do for this. That is what I am doing. That's why I took up old the craft foundation now up and then doing it now. Therefore, being very part of this great opportunity, what is available today in front of you, I am sure all of you must use it. Thoroughly you must use it. That's what I want to tell you. Good enough? I can go on and on, hours together. But I am sure I should not do that because we started at 11 o'clock, it is 12:05. We started at 11:05, so almost. Because my recording goes, I've got a screen grabber, so I record all what is happening. Because I don't have the host privilege, so what I do is I record it. I'm a digital man. You tell me anything in digital, I am there. Right? So I record it, now I'll edit it. I've got another camera side by running. I will mix them together and tomorrow it will be on YouTube. Can you imagine how many hours I spend like this every day? That's what I do. I'm sure all of you should tune yourself to the new change. Now don't talk about, this should be the last lecture on opportunity and challenge. Let us work, but it is essential. If you have not done it, last 1 year, this is the right time to do it. Now what is to be done? Start working. Any one of you, my telephone number is open. Type in Dr. TPS, DRTPS, temperature pressure second. Top police service. DR is for doctorate. Dr. TPS. Just search in. You will get my mobile number 944-7437-948. Hook on to me. Tell your subject. That be commerce. My first students were commerce. I am a mathematician. I took my PhD in fluid mechanics, close to physics. I taught electrical engineering, electronics, computer science, mechanical, civil engineering. I taught philosophy. I was a student of philosophy. I did a master of philosophy half. Right? I went to medical colleges, management colleges, IIMs, IITs, NIT. Delhi was a beautiful time for me because I could travel all. I stayed in Delhi for 2 years with Manmohan Singh in Prime Minister's office. I was there. That's a time when I used to travel all the Delhi places. Each nook and corner of Delhi, I had a lot of satsang programs. You're all blessed to be in part of that best city in the best situation. I'm sure every Xerox missions are IAS training centers in Delhi because they have every document available. They will Xerox and give you. And that is what we call Xerox, the copying system. See how the vocabulary changed in the world. Whoever have got a prominence, that will become vocabulary. Otherwise, I should have told you copying. But copying, if you say, you may not understand. When I say Xerox, immediately you understand. So that is how things can be changed. If you become the leading person, that will become the vocabulary. So create vocabularies in your name. I'm sure nobody would have done education supermarket. Nobody would have done social craft foundation. I'm going to give a social craft foundation fellowship for Jayanti today. It's already made. I'll just WhatsApp to you a fellowship. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Sir, thank you, sir. After listening to you, I'm speechless, and I'm sure everybody must have enjoyed through your insightful lecture. And I don't know where to start. You have covered so many things about new education policy, and I think everybody has got a clear perception about what new education policy is all about. Then you started with the objective is to transform India, and the emphasis is on new education policy is multidisciplinarity and moving to a large multidisciplinary universities, and every district will have university, and so many things you have covered. So without wasting much of the time, and you said that the teacher has to take the challenges, and they will lose the opportunities if they will not able to cope up with the new system. And very rightly, so many things creative individual who takes into account every aspects of life. And you have very rightly said the teacher needs to take care of the holistic approach, the physical, social, emotional, mental, spiritual development of the students. And I'm really, sir, thankful to you giving us time. And as I said, that it is always good to listen to you, learn many things. I personally learn many things from you, and I'm sure there are many questions. I can see the chat box. So Silpa has big questions. So I can begin with Silpa. She can unmute. Silpa, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question. Oh, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Shilpa.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. That was indeed great listening to you. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Sir, I would just like to know, are there any provisions in the new education policy which talk about expansion of physical infrastructure? And then how to take care of the digital divide, so how does government plan to provide, internet connection or the web facility to remote villages also so that all the students get covered?
Today, I think India is well connected digitally in most of the places. I am aware that probably 3 years back, the statistics says India is 60% connected. The 5G is going to be in place in the next few years. There are going to be a lot of private players who will change the situation today. What you are seeing is not what is going to be there after some time. So digital divide will not be a big problem. The connectivities are not a problem because fiber optics, it is not satellite alone. Earlier there was a crunch because the connections were from satellite to satellite. So satellite has got a bandwidth problem. So within the country, even internationally today, the cables are running below the sea. That is why the fiber optics made the difference in the digital. So only thing, we are not opening up so fast, but that is going to happen very fast. We are going to open up for large number of private players, and I'm sure that is going to change a lot of difference. Maybe today there are some places where there is a problem, but in the immediate future, now also we are seeing most of the places it is connected. When I keep going to northeast, so I found that in the northeast earlier there used to be a lot of problem. Their connection is a problem, electricity is a problem. I have got children who used to be with me in the early 2005 time. Yesterday I was talking to one of my students. So electricity failed, but still we are able to communicate. Therefore, connection is not a problem. I am sure digital connectivity is not a problem. Electricity problems are still there. So those places were when I used to go 10 years back. I used to tell some BSNL wind has to come to connect me. And then the next answer will go in the BSNL wind only. Only wind will come. It's like a wind. BSNL connection used to be like a wind. I think that situation has changed now.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Any other question, you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
I am seeing a lot of feedback. Few children also messaged me from WhatsApp, but I am only seeing
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
no.
Good morning, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, Jolsna.
Yes. Sir, my question is that India's new education policy has stepped the MPhil degree. Sir, do you think the fresh master students can go for PhD directly?
See, even today there are bright children after graduation are directly taken for PhD. Even masters is not a must in some of the fields. One. Second one, MPhil was not at all a must for PhD. When I took my MPhil, I am an MPhil in mathematics. It was not because MPhil was a must. There was a opportunity to take MPhil so that you learn what is research methodology under that scheme. Now that whatever is being taught in MPhil is going to come in the graduation program with an extension. The 4.5 years, 5 years program, we are going to have an extension program in which you are going to learn that. And some universities and colleges, they started a 1 year pre-program, like a starting for PhD, you should pass that program. So it was running in different modes. One was MPhil, another one was a 1 year course program, another one was without all this also people did fellowship programs like UGC, NET qualification, they could directly go to PhD. So MPhil was never a compulsory program before PhD in India under UGC. For the last few years they implemented it because I think it's like a cooling period. The biggest problem is people start doing PhD, they don't get anything. So they thought most of the people join for MPhil and PhD parallel. That's what I also did. So therefore I did my PhD in 3 years. In between that I finished my MPhil also. So my MPhil plus PhD in mathematics was 3 years program. So it is not at all a impactful thing. Some people who had MPhil are privileged to keep MPhil because the life is gone. We don't know. Again another education policy will come, MPhil will come back. Who knows? Changes will keep happening. I am sure it should happen. There should not be any end of the program. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Jayanti Sahu, you have a certificate in your mobile.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You can just show that on the screen. I don't want to show that because I have to give you. You must see that first before somebody else see that.
Sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I can, but I don't know whether I can show it to everyone.
You can show that. You can see whether that can be seen or not. Little closer, little closer. Yeah, that's a beautiful emblem which I created maybe in 2005.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
That is a craft foundation which started 2005. Young children, it is not for teachers alone. You be part of taking the message to society for a development of the society. You will all be eligible for that.
Then I can show in
Yeah.
a better way. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, I have a question. So, since the school, we know that we are lack of practical knowledge. They are always possessed with theoretical knowledge, and the national education policy talks about practical knowledge.
Yeah.
What are the challenges that can be in national education policy to implement at the school level?
Sakshi, what you should do is Don't think about a national education policy. You think about your home education policy.
Yes, sir.
Start learning cooking from today. When I used to have children who are coming to me for civil service direction, I don't coach, I don't train, I don't do all that. I believe in learning by themselves. So this book, Civil Service Prelims Handbook, it's all available. All my books are available on my internet, my website. That person who wrote this book, when came to me to become a civil service direction for that purpose, I asked first to go and prepare chai for me. Kitchen is open, these are all the items, go and prepare. She said, no, I don't know how to prepare chai. I said, first you should learn what to prepare chai. That is practical learning. I remember when children come to me from my home, I used to climb on coconut tree to pluck. Coconut tree is maybe 40 feet to 50 feet higher. And I still do all that job. I am basically from a farmer's family. My father was a farmer and I still do all that farming by myself with my own hand. You cannot see a scientist climbing a tree. I remember one of the local paper did a beautiful coverage on me saying a scientist is climbing a tree. Right? So practical learning, anything and everything you start today. I remember I was working for a small association. We were all discussing how to sell a few scientific books which are written for common people. Layman's language science was written in Malayalam language by a group of scientists and teachers. So they were all discussing how to sell this, how to take this to people. And I knew that the discussion, it was in Cochin. In the center of the city, we had an office where this discussion was happening. I was a student of mathematics, MSc in Cochin University that time. I told them, you give me 100 books. You keep discussing, I'll come back. I took those 100 books, went to the bus stand, sold all the 100 books in the bus, in the passengers, and then came back and told, this is how I sold it. All of you can sell if you have courage, I said. My quota is over. Be on the ground. Be my children, be courage enough, yeah. Get out of your homes. Get out of your academic institution. Go to the world. Be courage enough. I have nothing else to add, dear Zindagi. That's it. I am sure all of you are. But convince your parents. Days are gone. We have to be on the field now. I am not saying now the COVID situation. Let that be over. Jump out. I used to have sessions. You see my Shiksha holiday program in Hyderabad. I used to have sessions in Golconda Fort. If you are learning about Golconda Fort, I keep asking, come to Golconda Fort. Once we had in the Bongir Fort, somebody did this book of Raising of India by the Rays of India was published during that time when this book was made. The students in Hyderabad, they wanted the participation certificate because they contributed an article in this book, in which I said your certificate will be given on the top of the Bongir Fort. There were no ladder to climb on the top of the fort. I said 2 o'clock sharp you are there, between 2 to 2:30. If you reach there, I will give you. And it was at 1 o'clock. Reaching there was tough, but they did it as a task. I said if you cannot do it, you are not follower of Vivekananda. Vivekananda was a strong man, muscle power. That's what he says. Muscle power, sharp brain, open heart. I am sure you can be spiritual by default and have a social commitment. That has to be your courage. I remember one day I asked my students who are coming for civil service direction from me, I asked, Metro was inaugurated, MMTS, it was called MMTS in Hyderabad. Have you traveled in MMTS? They said no. I said next Sunday class is in MMTS. Morning whenever they come, I had a ticket, I don't know which ticket. Different places I took so many tickets. And each one of them I gave it to one and said, you take this ticket, get into the train and then travel. Hey, my papa will not agree. I said, don't worry, you are in my class. Up to next 3 hours, you are free. Travel. And they were all given one-way ticket only. They traveled. And then somebody else comes, they are in a different train. All of them went into different trains. I have seen a situation where somebody asked the first passenger, like somebody was sitting. I said, "This is your train. Get into that." Got into the train, and some other passenger said, "Where is this train going?" This boy said, "I don't know where is this train." "You are inside the train and you don't know where are you going?" He said, "My sir told me you go in this train, so I am going." That's how you should travel. You should not know where are you going. That's called freaking out, right? You freak out one day. I used to be in Delhi in all the buses, jump from one bus to another bus, and then I have seen the whole Delhi like that. Not even a single weekend, 104 weekends, 52 weekend per year, 2 years I was there. 2 years I used to travel every weekend, nook and corner. That's a great learning, yeah. Practical, that is practical. Now farming you have to learn, cooking you have to learn, you have to make your house yourself. I remember in an engineering college when I asked all children to get small stems of hibiscus. It's only 15-inch. You can put it in your bag. I said get that stems because it's a village. People come from different villages. In one day I planted 1,500 siblings. Now today after 10 years when I go to the campus I can see beautiful flowers there. That is practical, being practical. Don't just do it for showing. Do it because you being inside that. I'm sure you will enjoy your life. You will be able to recollect. Creating moments is life. Create moments which you can cherish later. If you don't create moments today, now I have created moments with all of you. And create moments like this every day. Create something which you can remember in your life.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So this is Anjali here.
Who is that?
Sir,
Duravani.
This is Anjali.
Yeah, Anjali.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Show your face better. It looks good.
Sir, I have to ask you a question that in the article I have read that new education policy will work more focused on Hindi and regional language. So what will be the impact of that?
It is a stupid. It is not correct, beta. Today we have 3 language system. That is also not new. I'll tell you. I don't know whether you know Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti schools. We had all the districts except in Tamil Nadu. Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti. Navodaya is the largest set of CBSE schools in India. I happen to be part of it. Training teachers, training administrators, training principals, training students. I used to go there, take classes for them. Training in the sense it's a real training because whenever new system comes, they need to be trained in that. Otherwise, I don't use the word training. In all the programs of empowerment, enriching them, refreshing them, orienting them towards the new policies and activities in Navodaya Vidyalaya, I was part of it. What is Navodaya Vidyalaya? Every district there is one school. What is their policy? 3 language policy. They have got English, Hindi and regional language. It is there. I also learned Hindi. I also learned in my mother tongue and we had that system is still there. You know, it's only less than 15% of the students in India go to English medium schools. 85% of them still go to local, regional, state language. We cannot say regional because regional will have a lot of variations. So that will be more than 900 variations. We are not doing it. Local language, which is mother tongue, which is state based, or maybe 2-3 states will have common language. So we are going to have 20-30 different languages which are part of education system. And that is already there. 85% of the students are under that system even today. And they also learn English, they also learn Hindi. There is no change in the language system. It's only somebody who do not read this, who don't understand what is existing today is making these jokes. Otherwise, there is no strict rule that English medium should not be followed. Assume that there are some the people like a government employee. Central schools were created because people from one state to another state, CRPF, military, police, civil service, all the scientists, probably all of them in the government service, they will have to move from one state to another state. How do you take care of the changes for the children? Therefore, the central schools were created. KVs were created. Kendriya Vidyalayas were created. I am sure that is still going to be there in every district. We may have one under the government itself. Under the private, there are no restrictions at all. Now India is going to have huge number of foreign universities who are going to give education at the higher level. So do you think that is possible, opening up a higher level English medium and lower medium? If you stop that, it will be a loss. What is the problem today? What is the three language system we are talking? Assume a local language person is there in a English medium school. Teachers should not tell that I will not speak a local language, I will not teach you in Hindi. The teachers have to explain in all the three languages. So it's a challenge for teachers. The student can demand, teacher, explain this in my mother tongue. Explain in Hindi.
Okay, sir, thank you.
That has to happen because the actual essence of the subject, if some people wanted to understand, you are not an English native speaker born in English language, so you may not be able to understand. So three language system demands that in the classroom teachers are free to use all the languages. So it is to enable the students, that's it.
I think Pragya and Shivani, do you have any question, Pragya?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. There is question in chat box that Anjali have asked. Will FD lead to the privatization of higher education?
Yeah, see today also if you look at, I told you, as many number of state universities we have, that many number of private universities we have in India. So it is not opened up, today also it is opened up. We are also opening up to abroad universities. Why it is opened for abroad universities to establish in India? If you look at the total number of students who are going for higher studies or even for graduation to different countries in the whole world, much chunk of people are from India. So our money is going and dumping in abroad. Instead of that, you ask them to establish in India. Many people from different neighboring countries also will come and learn in India. We are not able to develop facilities and infrastructure which are equivalent to the world class. Maybe some universities are not establishing because there is no great competition. If that has to be opened up, I am sure we need to open it for private participation. We also have to open it up for people from abroad. I am sure no time the private universities could compete with the best government institutions. I am not talking about the 85% worst government institutions. I am talking about best government institutions. No engineering college so far could compete with IIT or NIT. Because we have IITs and NITs at the best. No science research establishments could compete with ISER, IASC and many government research centers. I am sure no private medical college is so far able to compete with All India Institute of Medical Sciences. So it is never going to be a competition for government because we have the highest class of teachers, highest best students. I'll tell you, an academic institution is not good because of the infrastructure, facility, proximity to the city, and also with the so-called high class qualified teachers. Any academic institution is good only when students are good. If good students can be attracted to me, my institution, my university, I am sure my university will become good. So understand, it is not teachers, infrastructure, name made by the management who is funding it. All that doesn't matter. Children will make a difference. If we have good children, and I am sure even today, every child in our country want to go to All India Institute of Medical Sciences, IIT, that charm is not lost, IIM, all of them are under government setup. So that still will continue. That's what is going to happen.
Hello, sir. This is me, Ishita.
Yeah, Ishita.
Sir, I have a question. Like, we are getting so much educated even after studying in the higher institutes, which are very high institutions.
Yeah.
And also, the students lack the power of reasoning. I think means we are given some sort of syllabus and we are just memorizing it. And after a sort of time, when we are asked कि हम क्या पढ़ रहे हैं, तो हमको खुद ही नहीं पता हम क्या पढ़ रहे हैं. तो आपको ऐसा लगता नहीं है कि we have some fault in our education system?
Ishita, you must read Eternal India written by Swami Vivekananda. There is a small portion, only few pages. That is Vivekananda's dream on education. Listen to the document. The other day I gave a lecture in one of the colleges in Kottayam where I was only focusing on what Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan spoke about educational philosophy. Education is man-making. Today what is given as higher qualification is only certificates based on curriculum with a specific examination. That doesn't give you knowledge, that doesn't give you social life. No life skill, no soft skill, no creativity, no innovation, no improvisation ability, no power of reasoning, no verbal language also. Probably you can take a PhD in English without having a language skill, because literature is what is being tested there, not the language. So practical ability is entirely different from today's education system. That is why I said 5% is today's practicability of what you are learning. We know whatever some student is learning in smaller classes or up to BTech, when you become an engineer, in Infosys, they run a training center in Mysore where they are teaching maybe 6th class, 7th class mathematics onwards, maybe 7th or 8th or 10th, 9th or 10th class English again. Communication skill, mathematical ability, logical reasoning, arithmetic ability, data analysis, little bit of statistics, everything is being taught again. Because we know none of the colleges are teaching this in their colleges, it's only certificate. That's only like filtering somebody to become qualified to get into something. So our job opportunities are plenty, youth are plenty, but employable youth are too less. And therefore we are somehow employing somebody who is not useful, not good, to just fill the vacancy. Do you know we have got a civil service IAS? How many people are writing? Nearly 20 lakhs people appear for CSAT. Apply for CSAT. Out of which 5 lakhs people are only writing, 15 lakhs people are scared of examination. And after that 5 lakhs, if you look at only from Delhi 4 lakhs, the rest of the country it's only 1 lakh. How many are passing? It's only 20,000. And out of the 20,000, how many will pass the main, come for interview? It's less than 1,000, 1,300, 1,400. And we have 10,000 vacancies. Why are we not filling up the vacancy by unqualified people? Because we know they should not get into administration. It is not politics, it is not a judiciary. It is administration who will spoil this country, who will make this country good. That's why I am a good proponent of telling that we need good administrators. That's why I got into starting 2 programs. One is called a Destination IAS, another one is called a Mission CSAT. Lot of children were motivated, guided, directed for writing civil service under me. So I'm sure you understand education is man-making. That's what Vivekananda said. It is not happening, unfortunately, my dear. So this is a great initiative by the government, Ishita, by the government to change that back into the so-called philosophy which India had. And I'm sure it's going to be successful with young people debating like this. When earlier it happened in 1986 and it happened in earlier also, never, I'm sure, the youth were involved, the youth were thinking. I'm sure there were no Dr. TPS to tell you that it is youth who has to make the child craft, the social craft foundation. Like you have a great opportunity. I'm sure it's not me alone. There are plenty of people debating it, discussing it, knowing it, understanding it. What I can do is the next level we have to do. Whatever little bit we understood, let us make it happen. And I'm sure that will happen immediately in the future.
Oh, sir, there's one more question. Like you said that this is a great initiative that we are doing new education policy.
Yeah.
So, sir, there are many states still who are opposing it. So, what do you think? Is there a flaw in this policy, or this is politics only?
See, anything in this world, whichever is done by government, there has to be somebody opposing. Because if at all there is a flop, somebody has to find out if there is a lacuna. So opposition is a good thing. Nothing bad in opposing something, criticizing something. You know, the opposition is also called criticism. You know what is criticism? Criticism is nirupanam. Nirupanam means giving shape. I am sure there is a policy which came, which are worked by many people. That's what earlier I was telling, 2019 it was published. Education is always a state prerogative. So state to central government, there can be a lot of conflict. So some state government may oppose it. All this can happen. But I'm sure 50% of this happens, India will have a great future. That's what I feel. Being part of government, I know how difficult it is that to get out of government some policies into. It is not just like that somebody makes it. There are a lot of debates, lot of people, each word by word, sentence by sentence by writing. People keep their brain inside that. It is debated, it is discussed, it is understood. Who are the people who are talking about these politicians? Probably, I'm sure they must not have even read this new education policy whole document. Let them read that first. When somebody is talking, that TV fellows, political people, they have to make some stories around it. I'm sure, other than that, nothing else.
Pragya, can you ask? Pragya?
And one of the beauty is now the government is wholly into that. You must listen to the Vice Chancellor's conclave where Narendra Modi, Prime Minister, was talking. He says, I am for this and I will do it. That's it. So if such a commitment is there from the government, I am sure it's going to happen. So opposing is wasting time. It is like pushing on the wall to open the door. You are not pushing on the door at all. Door is already locked and closed. Yeah. Somebody else had a question. Sorry.
Sir, considering the university's rank of our country, like even the best university in India, for science, it's IISc, and sir, the world ranking of IISc is still around 150.
Yeah.
So, sir, how do you think we can be in a close proximity of around top 20 or top 50 universities in world ranking?
Yeah. See, we don't. Yeah, understood better. Your question is understood. I think you don't have to be too much worried about this because the world ranking comes because of different reasons. One is facility. In American universities, most of them are governed by government and probably much more, 90% of them are with the private participation. They give a lot of donation, they create a lot of infrastructure and they have a lot of money. Whether you want to make a biryani, you need a lot of money. You want to make a gruel sada rice, then it doesn't require, it's only 5 rupees. So most of our children, they have a different background. We have problem with the money, and the world ranking comes because not because of the education part, what we are giving. It is because of the alumni who are all into different. Suppose my son studied in King's College, another one studied in some other college. That when you say King's College, we have got a tradition of who? Madame Curie, Marie Curie. The Imperial College is the other college where my son studied. It has got a tradition of 500,000 years. Now tell me, India, do we have such a tradition? The alumni tradition is not there. See, there are universities abroad where they keep a parking place for Nobel laureates. Do we have to keep a parking place for Nobel laureates in our universities? Because we know there is nobody who is going to come there. So, if I am sure you young children, I was blessed to have during my MSc, my first lecture was by ECG Sudarshan. He was almost equal to a Nobel laureate in physics. His students got Nobel prizes. So, you are meeting somebody who is a professor who is equivalent to a Nobel laureate. I had lectures and interaction with Yashpal. Yashpal is a great scientist of physics. So, if you have interaction with discussing such people, I am sure we are going to have a great future tomorrow. So, don't think about the ranking today what we are not into. We are into a method where we are going to make such rankings. This was our philosophy in education long back, but that got diluted because of the political situation, the poverty which we have. We are a nation which is only 75-year-old. 1947 we took our independence. So all our investment for a nation to grow 100 years, less than 100 years is nothing. We are to compete with the country who have got 500 years of independence. the richest of the richest, who is selling many items to the whole world. We are a agricultural based people with a large population. Assume your family, you have only one son, you know how to take care of his education. Now we have got population is the largest population. So to cater to them, we have problems. So we have to dilute. But if you look at the world around, the best universities, best companies, best entrepreneurs, all of them go from India for higher knowledge. They go from India for PhD. They go as professors. They go as entrepreneurs. They go as CEOs of different companies. Look at the world situation. The best people who are leading the best companies in the world, many of them are Indians. Because our people are going there because we are not able to pay them. We don't have that much money. I am sure in a new education system, I only talked about the challenges which teachers have. I am sure the teachers have to be paid at least 3-4 times higher that much salary. A minimum salary for a teacher when they join in a higher education or in the high school system has to be minimum 1 lakh rupees. Maybe a professor should get 3 lakhs. But I am sure most of the teachers are getting 1/10 of that. Engineering colleges, as an executive director, I was feeling pity. A MTech from a university, we used to pay 6,000 rupees. As a teacher, the teacher is getting 6,000 rupees salary in private engineering colleges. Why? Because there are 10,000 people ready with that. We have doctors who are doing night time job where 170 rupees is paid for night. So this creates a problem. That is because we are poor. I am sure we are going to be rich. That is why I said we are only a $2.8 trillion country. In the next few years, we are going to have $5 trillion country club, which will have only 5 to 6 countries. I am sure China is going to get down. From 4 point, they will become 3 point now. And India will going to overtake them. And we have that ability to be in the 4th industrial revolution. Education also will change. Maybe I will be alive in next 20 years. You will be alive. We are going to debate that how many Nobel Prizes we have. Why only in the Nobel Prize in Science? We will have great institutions. We will have great people in sports. Everything, every part we are not able to compete because of different economic situation, social situation, political situations. All that is going to change in the years to come.
Thank you, sir.
Namaste. Good.
Any other question?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is a bit different. It's rather, so I want to know what motivated you to become the person you are today. Like, what motivated you to see the better future? What motivated you to teach the students like us? What motivated you to be the person who is like speaking to us and motivating us also? So, what is the energy you like? What thought you had when you started your journey?
You are Rachita, right?
Yes, I'm Rachita.
Can I
from
see
Assam,
your
studying
Can I see your
University
face,
of Odisha.
Rachita?
Yes, sir, sure. Hello, sir.
I am so glad. When I was in 8th class, I was in a district best school. I am from a small village. I have to travel 20 kilometers to go to that school. My village school happens to be my grandparents. It's a private, but in Kerala we have got an aided. We can appoint teachers. Government will pay salary to them. It's called aided system. It's a different system which is not there in different part of the country. So we own the school. We can appoint teachers. Who will pay salary? Government will. And most of my relatives took a job in our own village. I also would have become a teacher there. And in that school, when I studied up to 7th class, there was a best school in the district where I wrote an entrance exam, and then somehow I got an admission. All the examination which is conducted, all the class tests, half yearly, quarterly, all that examination, I got a rank which nobody could challenge. You know which is that rank where nobody will challenge?
The last rank?
Last rank. There were 27 children. I was the 27th rank continuously. Even today when we enter that school, in the front there is a painting which says 1996. We are called SSLC. 10th class is called State's School Leaving Certificate. 10th class. 10th class. People wrote examination 27. First class is 60% and above. 27. Next year 27. In my case, it would have been 27 and 26. I will not get. So what you know what the school did? They gave me a transfer certificate in 8th class. The principal gave a cover. The headmaster opened, I saw the transfer certificate, compulsory get out of the school. So I was thrown out of a school being the worst student. And my teachers were really correct in evaluating. I did not get a first class. I am only 54% in 10th class. I am only 52% in my plus 1 plus 2. When that was not a plus 1 plus 2, it is called a pre-degree. And that college where I did, we have to do that plus 1 plus 2 in a college, pre-degree. Before degree, do a pre-degree. And that college, my brother's wife, everybody was faculty there. My brothers were also students there. It was like every family goes to that college because that's one of the best college. Where I was the worst student again. And I did not get admission for any course I will not get. But my brother said, if you want in this college, I can give you admission for Malayalam literature. BA literature Malayalam. You cannot study mathematics. So my classmates were all joining for mathematics. I could not get mathematics admission. I told my brother, I will show that I will take graduation in mathematics. When I was 17 years old, I challenged my brother and said, I am going to change. If you want to give me a seat in, because that was a private college, he could have given a seat. He said, no, you are unfit to study mathematics. I said, I will prove that I am a mathematics student. I first joined in a college. In that college, teachers, I am going to teach next week. I took a double degree mathematics and statistics. From there, I jumped into another college. BSc, I studied in 3 colleges. Third college, I reached in the same college where my brother is teaching. With a university approved order from the Vice Chancellor, this student has to be admitted in the college. So principal was mathematics professor. He said, no, I will not give you admission. I said, this is the university order. You have to admit him. At maybe younger than your age, I challenged the principal. I challenged my brother. I lost my father when I was 4 years old. So my brother was my guardian. And then I decided I am going to change. I got 89% in BSc. That was 5th rank in the university. And I got 2nd rank in MSc. I got 1st rank in MPhil. MPhil, PhD together I finished in 3 years. Never I stopped learning. Even today I learn. What I spoke to you today is nothing what I read till yesterday about national education policy. But I read it thoroughly once again so that it keeps in my brain. But my heart is for children. I am sure I am not supposed to tell you what is there in para number 1, para number 2. That makes no difference to you. But now you have, at least few of you have an interest to know what is there and you will read. So motivating is most essential than teaching. I don't teach any of my children. Any problem, any subject you can come to me, but I am not going to teach you that. Because I am not going to teach you cycling on one road, cycling on the other road, cycling on the other road. I will teach you cycling so that you can cycle on any road what you want. Driving is not to be taught on one road. Driving is to be taught so that you can drive on any road you want. You choose your road. So I teach how to learn. I teach how to teach. So I left Prime Minister's office in 2009 because exactly 20 years service in government I am eligible for pension. And that pension money is good enough for my life. Then I decided I must jump into children to make them good. That's where I went to Palakkad. Picked up 8th class children only because I was thrown out of 8th class. I picked up 8th class children, 90 of them, 45 girls and 45 boys. Only one contract with the parents. I will do anything to them. I may beat them. Anything is possible. And I will ask them to come and stay in the class 24 hours. I had 48 hours of class. Crazy boys. What is that? God Must Be Crazy was the movie which I was showing to the children first. And immediately I will stop them in the middle and ask them, tell me the last dialogue. Everybody has to by heart. I will call 2-3 children and say, come on to the stage and then enact the last 5 minutes. Everybody has to write down. Have you seen anybody in a cinema while seeing, they will write down dialogue by dialogue? Do that, you will learn language. I am from a Malayalam medium and I write beautiful poems. I am sure you will love my poetry. This is my life story. 100 poems are there. And you see the way it is edited and kept. You will love it. And this talks about half of my life experience. And this poetry, this book I wrote in Delhi, Mayur Vihar. I was sitting in a temple, Uttara Guruvayurappan temple, and I wrote this. This is also written there. Life of love. Everything I write on life, L-I-F-E. So I believe you are the people who need to be mentored. If you are mentored well, you can change the society. And you have high potential. This Dr. TPS at this age is not able to understand and learn much. But I'm sure you can do it. Richika, you can learn anything and everything if you think you want to do it. Because at your age, I did it. I gifted all my notebooks to my teachers after my graduation. I am meeting all my graduation classmates and teachers today. After 40 years, we used to have a meeting once in a while. And you know what I gifted to my teachers? My class notes, where I have solved all the problems. When I was a bad student, you want to know how did I become a good student? I told my classmates, you ask any question, I will answer. Who is telling this? Who was a bad student who don't know anything? And they will ask tough questions. I will tell you, not today, tomorrow I will tell you. And where do they get these questions? Today you can get everything on Google. Like this, if you do, you get answers. But those days that was not there. I am sure this student would have gone to library and then took some book for asking questions to me. I'll go to library and ask which book he took. And I had some liberty in library. I could get as many books as I want because he was a good friend of mine. My best friend was librarian. And then I take that book. That night I will read. Next day I will teach them. This is the answer for your question. So every classmates of mine started asking a lot of questions. So who taught me today, who made me today are my classmates. And I remember some of them discontinued their studies. They could not go for masters. But I used to, there was one student, Subramaniam. He got a bank job and then second year itself he left. Imagine mathematics, second year if you leave, he will never become BSc. Those days there was no copying machine. I used to write a notebook with a carbon paper is there, where you can keep below and write that next page you will see them. I don't know whether you people know that carbon paper. Yeah, that carbon paper I used to write in a notebook, and this paper I used to send it to him by post. Every class notes I used to prepare and duplicate to send it to him, and he became graduate just because of my class notes. MSc, I taught 3 of my classmates after BSc could not study MSc where I studied. I know they are all brilliant children. So I taught them MSc. And my PhD thesis, I don't have it in my library. It is there in one of my classmates' house. He says, I love to keep this because I could not take PhD. And you are such a person who took PhD. My classmate is the All India Congress Committee General Secretary K.C. Venugopal. You ask him, he was a better student than me. We were classmates, same class. In many places he said, Dr. TPS was, he will call only Shashi. Shashi was a bad student, but the way he changed was great. I was also into politics those days. Right? We studied together. So I was a good speaker. I got the best Vagmi award of Kerala, the best speaker award of Kerala, public speaker award. Gave classes hours together. That's why I could reach 8 lakhs of children, 5 lakhs of teachers. On this platform, I'm sure I did much more. So I'm sure if you challenge yourself, there is great opportunity. The title is so well fit, challenges and opportunities. Use the opportunity, challenge yourself, not somebody else. I can do it. You keep saying, you can do it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
बहुत सारे there are many questions. I don't know if you want to respond. It's already 2 hours I don't know, sir, what to do. So you can suggest me, sir.
It's up to you.
I just-
It's up to you. I have no problem.
See, girls, you can write down your questions so that I can forward it to sir on the chat box. And one question, last question, we can take.
Or we can have Maya Satsang anytime.
Yes, we can have. I can send you the Maya Satsang link. You can join there.
Or send me a WhatsApp so that you know that I'm into contact. I am there in your group, that WhatsApp group created for this seminar. Yeah. Anybody else?
Any other question? Okay, Shakshi. Shakshi, over to you.
I, Sakshi Rai, on behalf of National Services Scheme, Janki Devi Memorial College, would like to extend my thank you to Dr. T.P. Sashikumar. Sir, it was an extreme privilege to hear you, sir, and the opportunity provided to us from Dr. J.P. Sahu. You have given us an outlook on the loopholes of our education system and the opportunities being fostered by new education policy. As Russell says, human beings need a sense of realization of possibility, of greater things to come. With the indifference which must result as regards the petty squabbles upon which the passion of individual and the nation are wastefully squandered, and as new education policy was the need of the hour. So the certain points highlighted by you, such as the 5 pillars, the Sarv Kala Sala, and other things in this webinar would be extremely helpful to us. With this note, I would also like to thank you, our program officer, Dr. Jayanti P. Sahu ma'am, who always encourages us to possess practical knowledge on the emphasis of yoga too. Ma'am, you always encourage us, encourage us and always guide us. And its National Services Team, Janki Devi Memorial College, is proud to stir on the shoulders like a dedicated staff like you. Thank you, ma'am, for your constant support. And because of your support, we are stepping always a further step. Sir, thank you to you too for giving us such a wonderful webinar. We are extremely privileged to hear you. After this, I would also like to thank you all the attendees in the webinar for making our webinar such a wonderful. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you all the attendees.
Thank you, Jayanti, for this nice opportunity given to talk to you.
Sir, thank you so much. And I know that thanks is a very small word, but my gratitude, my regards to you. Sir, as I said, that I always love to listen to you, and I learn many things from you, and so also my students, and we would like to have more sessions like this. So thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you all. Enjoy your life. LIFE, life. Live in full enjoyment. Learn in full enjoyment.
All of you, please fill the feedback form.
Okay then. Bye.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Girls, you can fill your feedback form.